In a world that cannot stop talking, the most dangerous weapon you can possess is the ability to remain silent. Have you ever wondered why the most powerful predators in the wild never make a sound until the moment they strike? It is because noise is for those who seek attention, but silence is for those who seek power. While everyone else is busy explaining themselves, the silent man is building an aura of mystery that commands respect without uttering a single word. Today, we go beyond the basic advice of being quiet and dive into the psychological mastery of silence that will make you an unstoppable force. If you understand these secrets, people will no longer just hear you. They will feel your presence even before you enter the room. Most people mistakenly believe that speaking more makes them appear more intelligent or influential, but the truth is exactly the opposite. Every time you open your mouth unnecessarily, you are handing over a piece of your mind for others to judge and control. Stoicism teaches us that a silent man is like a deep, dark ocean. No one knows the treasures or the dangers that lie beneath his surface. When you stop revealing your every thought, you create a psychological barrier that makes you impossible to read and therefore impossible to manipulate. Your silence acts as a fortress, protecting your inner peace from the chaos and opinions of the outside world, leaving people wondering what you are truly capable of. The moment you choose silence, your other senses awaken with a sharp, predatory clarity that most people will never experience. You begin to hear the things people are too afraid to say out loud and see the subtle cracks in their masks that they desperately try to hide. True leaders across history were never the loudest in the room. They were the ones who listened until the very end, gathering information like a master strategist. By observing more than you speak, you gain the upper hand in every conversation because you understand the landscape while others are still lost in their own noise. Silence allows the world to reveal its secrets to you, giving you a level of wisdom that can only be found in the stillness of a focused mind. There is no insult more powerful and no response more devastating than absolute silence when someone expects you to react in anger. When you refuse to engage with someone's toxicity, you are essentially telling them that their words have zero value in your world. Their ego, which feeds on your reaction, begins to starve and turn inward, forcing them to face their own insecurities and foolishness. To remain silent in the face of an attack is not a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate display of self-mastery and emotional superiority. You aren't just ignoring them. You are dismantling their power over you by proving that you are the master of your own internal state, regardless of their noise. Silence is the highest form of discipline because it requires a battle against the human instinct to prove oneself right or to seek validation. It takes an iron will to stay quiet when you have the perfect comeback or when everyone around you is gossiping and seeking cheap attention. By practicing this restraint, you are training your brain to stay calm under pressure and to act with intention rather than reacting out of impulse. This level of self-control is what separates the masters from the masses, as it builds a mental strength that radiates a quiet, terrifying confidence. Remember, silence is not just about not talking. It is about conserving your energy so that when you finally do speak, your words carry the weight of a mountain. But as powerful as silence can be, there is a dangerous line that you must be careful never to cross without full awareness. There are moments where silence will build your empire, but there are also specific situations where staying quiet could lead to your absolute destruction. If you don't know the difference between strategic silence and cowardly silence, you might find yourself losing the very respect you worked so hard to gain. In the next part of this journey, I will reveal the 3 specific moments where silence becomes your greatest enemy and the dark, psychological trick that turns your quietness into a weapon of mass influence. Are you ready to see the side of silence that no one else is brave enough to talk about? When you enter a room and remain silent, you create a psychological vacuum that others feel an irresistible urge to fill with their own words. People are naturally uncomfortable with silence. They will start talking just to ease their own anxiety, often revealing more than they ever intended. By simply nodding and maintaining eye contact without speaking, you force the other person to expose their cards, their motives, and their weaknesses. This is not just a conversation tactic. It is a masterclass in intelligence gathering that allows you to map out your next move with absolute precision. You become the predator who knows exactly where the prey is hiding, simply because you had the patience to let them talk themselves into a corner. Think of your words as a rare and expensive currency. The more you print, the less they are worth. When you are the person who rarely speaks, every single word you eventually utter carries the weight of a heavy blow, demanding the full attention of everyone around you. People will begin to hang on to your every sentence, knowing that you don't waste breath on trivialities or empty gossip. Scarcity creates value, and by withholding your speech, you are artificially increasing the power of your opinions and commands. A king doesn't shout to be heard. He speaks once softly, and the entire kingdom falls silent to listen to the wisdom that only comes from deep reflection. However, you must be careful, because not all silence is created equal, and using it at the wrong time can be a fatal mistake. There is a thin line between powerful silence and cowardly silence, the silence that comes from fear or the inability to stand up for yourself. If you remain quiet when your boundaries are being crossed or when your loved ones are being harmed, your silence is no longer a weapon. It is a white flag of surrender. Stoicism isn't about being a doormat. It is about knowing exactly when to stay still and when to strike with the force of a lightning bolt. If you fail to recognize these moments, the world will stop fearing your silence and start pitying your weakness. In the world of business and high-stakes negotiations, silence is the ultimate power play that can win you millions or save your reputation. After you make an offer or ask a difficult question, the most powerful thing you can do is shut your mouth and wait for the other side to respond first. Most people crumble under the pressure of that quiet gap and start making concessions or lowering their demands just to break the tension. By mastering the dead air, you show that you are not desperate and that you have all the time in the world to get exactly what you want. Your silence signals that you are in total control of the situation, making the other party feel like they are the ones who need to prove their value to you. One of the darkest and most effective uses of silence is its ability to act as a mirror, forcing people to confront their own inner chaos. When someone is acting out of ego or trying to manipulate you, and you respond with nothing but a calm, steady gaze, they are forced to look at their own reflection in your stillness. Your lack of reaction makes their behavior look ridiculous, even to themselves, often leading to an immediate realization of their own mistakes. It is a psychological mirror that strips away their pretenses and leaves them standing naked with their own insecurities. You don't need to argue or point out their flaws. Your silence does the dirty work for you, making them the architects of their own psychological defeat. As we reach the end of this journey, remember that silence is not just a lack of noise. It is the calm before the storm. It is the gathering of energy, the sharpening of the mind, and the ultimate preparation for a life of purpose and power. When you stop caring about the need to be heard, you finally find the freedom to be truly understood by those who matter. Start today by choosing one situation where you would normally speak, and choose silence instead. Watch how the world shifts around you. The path of the silent master is lonely, but it is the only path that leads to absolute self-sovereignty and inner peace. Will you continue to be the noise, or will you become the silence that moves the world?